To become better in chess, you need to learn from famous grandmasters of the past. In this video, we will learn how to attack from Vasily Smyslov games. Vasily Smyslov is a former world chess champion and one of the greatest chess players ever. And we will underline some principles of attack to improve your attacking skills. My name is Pavel Martinov and welcome you on my YouTube channel. Subscribe just not to lose new videos, and let's start. So first example, the game of young Vasily Smyslov at the beginning of his chess career. He played with the black color. So what we can see? We can see that the white king is really in dangerous position because we have a bishop looking for him. We have this nice battery looking to g2 pawn, trying to create a checkmate. Smyslov continued with knight g4. Actually, he is starting to create real treatments to the king. His opponent followed by h3 to not to lose the h2 pawn, and here he played a magnificent, brilliant move, rook d3. So right now, white can't take on d3 by queen because they will lose a queen after some moves. And if they will take by bishop, for sure they will receive a checkmate immediately. So they can't take. His opponent played queen takes b6, he took a pawn, and Vasily Smyslov continued attacking chess. He played rook h3. He's using the powerful of his pieces to create a checkmate. Right now, he can't take on c6 the queen because he will receive an immediately checkmate. And if white will take the rook on h3, for sure they will have a checkmate. So again, the power of these two pieces is really very strong. And his opponent played bishop d4, trying to defend the f2 pawn to avoid this checkmate after bishop h2 following knight f2. And Smyslov played here check, here right now open check, so his opponent can't take on h3 because of the spin. And actually he resigned in this position because after king g1, Vasily Smyslov is able to play bishop h2, king h1, and bishop returning to c7, and white will lose a queen next move on b6, and this position is totally winning for black. So what we learned? We learned that if you will use the power of your pieces to create a real strong attack, you can sacrifice some material to get closer to the checkmate. And actually we need to remember that such batteries like here, I mean like queen plus bishop on the long distance diagonal, it's really a huge power thing that you can use in your attacks. So let's move to the next example. In this position, Vasily Smyslov played with black color, and we can see that probably this position appeared from some King's Indian defense because the pawn structure is so. And we can also see that his pawns are in the game, so he is ready to destroy the white king position. And white, they don't have any serious counterplay on the queen side. So just because all squares like c7, for example, defended from white pieces, and white pieces are too weak to create some serious counterplay on this side. And Smyslov played f3 immediately. So his idea to unlock white king position to start a smash attack. If white will try to avoid this, for example g3, we can say that this pawn is really very strong, just because white needs to care about g2, because somewhere this queen can appear on h3 with a checkmate on g2, and this pawn cut off the white king and makes his position really very dangerous. So black can continue with, for example, g4, following h4 to unlock the h file to create a checkmate attack, and this position with them a really strong attack of black. So opponent played g takes f3, and Smyslov followed by knight h4. Right now he wants to take on f3, and he can take even some material because it's a double attack, it's a fork. And of course the king position is really very weak. So knight e2, trying to defend the f3 pawn to avoid knight f3. just bishop h3, a really nice move, because black wants to cut this king, so he even can't escape like f1, e2, trying to rescue somewhere in the center. And these pieces are really powerful, so the attack is really hard. So his opponent played bishop f1, trying to make some exchanges to get position better. Queen d7, just black ready to take on h3 by queen and connect the queen to the attack. King h1. So the idea of this move is to make g1 square empty for rook, to defend with this rook from checkmates on g2 square. And here Smyslov played a nice move, rook c8. So he's not forgetting about other pieces that he has in the position, and he wants to connect and bring the rook to the game. And actually the spin, I mean like queen and knight, is really dangerous for white, because right now it's hard for white to go somewhere with the queen, because they will lose a knight on c3. And actually, how we will see during the game that this rook on c8 is really important. So bishop b2. So white's idea is to defend the knight on c3. Here, queen h3. So black wants to checkmate on g2. Rook g1 is the only one move. Took on f3. Rook g2, the only one move, and g4. And we can see that the position of white is really hard, because here is a pin, black queen is really very powerful, black rook is also in the game, and actually black just need to bring a knight somewhere like this, bring the knight to the attack, and after this white can't stop black attack at all. They played king g1. The idea is to avoid the spin. So, and as I told, knight g7. The idea is to play knight f5 following knight h4 with a really weird attack, strong attack. So e4 played white. Actually, better was maybe to play queen d1. The idea is to avoid this distance with the rook and try to exchange the queens. Of course, black can just play queen f5, and it's hard to do something with white because this rook is really ugly out of the game, and the black position is really much better, and they have still an attack because king position is really weak. So opponent of Smyslov played e4. He continued with bishop e7. Now it's a time for a bishop, because he can go to g5 to connect to the game, or to h4 to make some pressure on f2 pawn. And it's a nice trick, because as we saw from last example and this example, that Smyslov always trying to bring all his pieces in the game and have a harmony, have a connection between the pieces to create a real strong attack. So you need to learn this and take it to your games. Rook d1, bishop h4. So rook e1. It's really hard to suggest something for white because they doesn't have any counterplay and they just need to stay on the place. Bishop g5 here, queen f6. So again, rook d1. Again, it's really hard to find any counterplay. a6. Just black, they doesn't need to hurry, because they have a powerful position, and i6 idea is to avoid maybe knight b5 with treatments to d6 pawn somewhere. It's just like a normal move that getting black position a bit better, because even if we can say that this bishop is on the black field, Smyslov pushed the pawn to the white square. That is also good from strategical side. Queen e2 here. Rook g2, again, this rook is really ugly. It's like maybe even the main problem of white right now, because this rook is out of the game. It seems more like a pawn on g2 than the rook. Queen f3. If white will take on f3 by queen, we just can take by rook. So now the idea is to take on c3 and to change rook for two pieces. It's impossible to go away with the knight because b3 pawn is really weak. And if, for example, white will try to rescue this knight on c3, black can play just king h7 following bishop g5 somewhere, and this rook needs to go out, and this position is totally winning. Again, the huge problem of white that they don't have counterplay. Even I can replace a knight to f6 to make some pressure to e4 pawn, so it's like more tempos for black, so they can do everything that they want in this position. And actually, Smyslov opponent played rook e1. It's just a blunder because after rook c3 he resigned. So after taking, Smyslov can take, and these two pieces are much stronger than this rook on g2, and Smyslov opponent resigned. So in this game, we saw that he connected all the pieces to the attack and unlocked the king position of white, and because of this ugly rook on g2, white really lost this game. Let's move to the next example. Again, Smyslov playing with black pieces, and in this position we can see that he is much better because it's hard for white to finish development. They can't go somewhere by knight because black will take on c3 and later take on a1. It's hard even to suggest how to play with white here. And Smyslov played rook d3. He wants to bring a rook in the game, and maybe somewhere he even wants to take on c3 by rook. It's really hard to suggest something for white. White played h4. Their idea is probably to push h5 and h6, trying to have some counterplay on the black king position. Smyslov played king f8. It's a prophylaxis move, just because after h5 he played h6. And right now white can't take on h6 because it's no more pin. The king is not on g8. He left to f8, and after knight h6, bishop h6, Smyslov just can take on h6 and receive extra piece, and totally winning position. So nice prophylaxis during the attack because Smyslov wanted to avoid counterplay of his opponent. Also, you need to learn this tool. His opponent took on e7. He took by knight, takes, knight returns. Actually, yes, white, they took a pawn, but the payback is soon. Queens took on c5, queen g1. White trying to exchange queens, queen a5, so we saved the possibility to take on c3. That's why white played king f2, trying to avoid rook c3 and avoid this distance with queen. Bishop e6. Smyslov wants to connect the second rook to the game and finish his development. It's a tricky move. Queen h2, queen c5, here, here, here. So some checks, and knight f5. Right now he's bringing a knight to the attack on the king, and this king position is really very weak, and we can see that all white pieces in troubles, and they're really disconnected between each other. Queen h4, knight g4. So right now Smyslov have a possibility of queen f2 somewhere here, and a little combination. He took on d4 here, check here. So he doubled moves, maybe because he had lag of time. Takes here and here. And finally, we can see that after bishop a6, trying to take on b7 somewhere, just queen c3, because right now it's impossible to take on b7. Black has queen c7 with a double attack on the king on f4 and bishop on b7. White played bishop e2, and Smyslov just took on a3. And we can see that this passing pawn is really very strong, and white king position as well is really very bad, and Smyslov won this game. So after rook d1, he just played queen e7. It's a nice move because he has a material advantage. He turns the game to the end game, and because of these pawns, he will win it really easy. So let's just check out how Smyslov made this. Check out it quickly, but he was really good. So he sacrificed one pawn just because this is going to be a queen, and this pawn is really close to a1 to achieve the goal. Rook on a1 is really out of the game, so it's no moves to rook on a1 even. Rook a4. So Smyslov wants to cut the king, so on the 4, because right now it's impossible to play king f4. His opponent just made some moves, and here he resigned just because it's white can't prevent rook b1 with promoting a pawn on b1 or a1, so it's totally winning. So in this game we saw that Smyslov made a nice attack, and he had some prophylaxis during his attack to avoid the counterplay from his opponent, and as well he didn't forget to play bishop e6 to continue his development and finish it, and he as well had all pieces working together on the attack to this king. Let's move next to the next example. Funny thing about this video that all games that we already saw and the last game that we will check out right now, Smyslov played with the black pieces. In this position, we can see that white king is in dangerous position. Maybe white wants to finish castle something like rook f1, following king g1. So that's why Smyslov played knight e3. He wants to force this king to go up to the center, because it's hard to play something like queen g1. At least black can take a pawn on c2, white took on e3, and after takes, king takes. If they will go down somewhere, I think that black can respond like g5 and has a strong pawn on f3 and really bad position of white king and start a serious attack as well. So he decided to take on e3, and we can see that some diagonals opened after this sacrifice, and king position is really very weak and he is almost in the center while his colleague under safe on king side. So bishop c5 immediately, d4, and takes on d4. I think that Smyslov counted all of this at the beginning before he played knight e3. And actually it's nice stuff to be good in the calculations. So while you're doing your attack, you need to calculate a lot, just not to make some blunder while you want to sacrifice a material, and just not to avoid a counterplay from your opponent's side. So to be better at calculation, you need to solve more puzzles as well. So, and queen g5. This position is very dangerous because that is a pin, that is a pin, this pawn, black will take this pawn, the king position is very weak. Hard to suggest for what to do for white. They played c3, the idea is to support the knight on d4 and try to make this knight a main defender of a king. Here, king f3, just rook d8. Important move because black wants to increase their treatments to knight on d4, and as well this pin is really dangerous for white. If black will take this knight in some good moment, they will just destroy main defender of this weak king. His opponent played g3. Actually, he could play queen d2, but Smyslov can follow with g5. He can't take on d4 immediately because right now white will use this tool, I mean a pin. So g5 is the best here, and after rook d1, just bishop d6. And white can't save this knight on f4 because like after knight d3, black can continue with queen f6, and we can see that after some moves this that will be even a checkmate for a king. So all defenders are out of the black attack. So his opponent played g3, trying to defend this knight as well, and then try to make some safe place on g2 for a king. Here Smyslov was able to play g5. The position is winning. He played bishop takes d4, also winning opportunity because like after takes he will take on d4 and the attack or like black attack, even they can somewhere play queen e4. Black attack is really very dangerous. Like computer says that white can't rescue. So his opponent played king g2. I mean after bishop takes d4, he played bishop f5. So right now we can see that this rook is connected to this. It's no more pin on d4 bishop, and this guy going to the game with some ideas like bishop e4, and the position is almost losing. Rook d4, queen e1, and finally g5 right here. And we can see that this guy he has not any nice position to go. So Smyslov opponent played bishop f3. The idea is to exchange queens, but actually this endgame is very bad for white. After rook c4, just we need to defend the pawn on c7, b3, rook c2, king g3. Smyslov played bishop e6, and actually this rook is out of the game. Somewhere we can just take this rook. Smyslov opponent played around like 10 moves and resigned finally. We can see that 2 more pawns for black. The position is totally winning for black. In this game, we saw that Smyslov was brave and he decided to sacrifice by knight e3 to bring white king closer to the center and create a smash attack. And actually, I suppose that he was good in calculations because he saw the idea was knight takes on d4 combination at the very beginning, and he counted that he will win this game. He will have a very strong attack. So we saw 4 great examples from Vasily Smyslov art. Actually, in all these games, he followed really logical rules like connection between pieces, some combinations to bring king of opponent to the bad position, some combinations, some tricky moves to unlock opponent king's position. So, and he illustrated for us this in his games. It's always good to learn from great grandmasters of the past. And subscribe to my YouTube channel just not to miss new video where we will learn something new to improve your chess skills. Have a nice day and love chess!